Man, I can't wait for November to get here so I can vote. I'm tired of these stupid jerks in Washington and the way they run our country.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, which Council on Foreign Relations member are you going to vote for then?
Say what?
I asked, which Council on Foreign Relations member are you going to vote for? You know, the CFR. You had heard of the CFR, haven't you?
Well, yes, of course I have heard of the CFR. But we do not vote for them. We only vote for Republicans or Democrats.
You must not know what the CFR does. Then,
I have to admit that I do not.
the Council on Foreign Relations is a Washington, D.C. think tank, founded in 1921 by a bunch of rich industrialists who owned global banking and industrial firms.
So what does that have to do with anything?
I am getting to that. A few years before 1921, these same globalists bribed our Congress, Senate, and then President Woodrow Wilson into enacting the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. In that same year, the same people bought 25 of our nation's most influential newspapers.
So,
as time went on, those newspapers became radio stations, then television stations, and now internet sites. These are the people who bring you your nightly news. The same people who own the mainstream media also own the Council on Foreign Relations and our Federal Reserve Bank.
what does that have to do with choosing a candidate to vote for?
Everything. Most of your candidates, Republican and Democrat, are loyal members of the CFR. You see, it really doesn't matter who wins or loses the election, because a Council on Foreign Relations member will maintain a seat at the table of power no matter what.
Look, I do not have time to listen to your conspiracy theory crazy talk.
These things are not a conspiracy, but fact. All of this information is in the public domain, if you care to look it up. It's all true.
Okay, suppose it is true. You mentioned the mainstream media and the Federal Reserve Bank. What do they have to do with all of this?
All of your major TV news people and newspaper reporters are members of the CFR. Your news reporters, congressmen, senators, educators, bankers, and even our president go to annual policy meetings at the CFR to receive instructions on how to steer the nation to the benefit of a few wealthy global businessmen who take our tax dollars and gamble with them overseas, instead of reinvesting them here in our country.
Lies. Our tax dollars go to our government, not to a few wealthy businessmen.
I hate to tell you, but the CFR is also comprised of the people who own the Federal Reserve Bank and the Internal Revenue Service. These institutions are not owned by the government at all. They are owned by the same private global interests who run the CFR. Printing money used to be under the authority of Congress until the Federal Reserve Act was instituted by the bankers in 1913. Now our government needs to go to the Federal Reserve to receive loans, allowing the Treasury to print dollars. You see, this is why we were taken off of the gold standard and became a nation of credit. Now our government is at the beck and call of a private financial firm with a credit-based money instead of having its own money backed by a tangible asset such as gold and silver. When our government needs more money, they go to these CFR criminals and make backroom deals. Our government gets their loan only if our government plays ball and institutes more taxes for the bankers' coffers, or makes laws and rules that go along with these bankers' interests.
So again, I ask, what does this have to do with choosing a candidate? According to you, no matter who we vote for, we don't really get a choice? If I vote Democrat, I get a CFR member. If I vote Republican, I also get a CFR member. What choice does this leave?
You could always vote for a Tea Party candidate.
No way. Those people are all a bunch of racist nut jobs.
Is that what you heard from your CFR media monopoly?
Yes.
Did it ever occur to you why the CFR-controlled media and government want you to think that an independent party is crazy or racist?
Let me guess, so I will not vote for an independent who isn't in league with the CFR.
And
what?
And so you won't vote for a person who is beyond their monetary control. It's not just the CFR, either. There is the Trilateral Commission, the Carlyle Group. The list goes on and on, but one thing you can be sure of, it is the same criminals at the top controlling our government from behind the scenes through financial interests.
But what about the Tea Party? Aren't they just a creation of the Republican Party?
That's what the mainstream media wants us to think. The CFR political planners know that the Democrats are facing a slaughter this year at the voting booth. They also know that the public is aware that the Republicans are equally to blame for the financial mess and the loss of liberties that our country is facing.
Yeah, and
The controlled media wants us all to think that the Republicans are joining with the Tea Party as a last-ditch effort to keep controlled members in those seats in the government, instead of independent candidates who aren't beholden to the financial trough.
You are making my head spin. I find this a little hard to digest. You are trying to tell me that our entire government is controlled not by we the people, but by some kind of oligarchy financial gang who own our media outlets and God knows what else?
That's the fact, Jack. So, which Council on Foreign Relations member are you going to vote for this year?
None of them. I think instead, I'm going to call in sick tomorrow and stay home and clean my guns. I need to do some research into what you are saying, because I'm having a hard time believing it.
Search for the truth and you will find it, but be warned. You may find out a whole lot more than you bargained for.
But why isn't this known by everyone? This is all new to me, but, according to you, this system has been in place since 1913?
They do not teach this in the schools. Guess who owns the national education system? CFR members. They do not tell you this on the news. And guess who owns the news? CFR members. The Supreme Court does nothing to root out the truth because
Supreme Court judges are CFR members too?
you guessed it. And the general population does not have enough time to learn the truth because they are busy working day and night to try and work themselves out of debt, as well as pay all of the taxes levied against them. And when the workday is through, they are distracted by Monday Night Football or American Idol.
Hey, I like football, leave football out of it. And besides, we need to pay some taxes or we would have no roads, police, or school buses.
I like football too, but let me ask you this. Name anything besides walking and breathing that we are not taxed for?
I can't think of anything.
We get taxed for everything, and the taxes go to pay for wasteful spending projects that are serviced by corporations who own and operate.
The CFR?
Now you're getting it. Hey, about that football game, want to come over later and watch it at my place?
Sure, I would love to.
Great, I'll bring some beer and a couple of books for you to read. See you later.